Dun, 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 dun. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It is Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're at your place for the Unfiltered Conversations with myself, Christopher Rausch, and
Jacque Ecuyer. You got it right. There you go. Kind of. If you went all the way around the world, you would have come back to me.
All the way around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2022 and the Unfiltered experience, where we have guests and we have solo shows where we're designed to get you guys to move your perspective, shift your opportunities and faith and belief about yourself and what it is that you can truly accomplish and how you get it so you can shift your mindset to have it work for you rather than against you. We appreciate you guys being here, whether you're live or on the replay. Thank you. And what's up, Scott? It's been a minute since we've had a chance to talk. How are you? How was your holidays and everything?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of people in one house, and you're dealing with everyone's different personalities, enjoying each other, but there's no mental breaks. And we might even be talking about that today. Sometimes you just need a mental break,
A mental break. You need a Kit Kat bar, man. You need a Kit Kat bar, right?
Or a Snickers bar. Break me off a piece. Any of that, right?
Yeah, break me off a piece. I used to say that to the girls I dated. Break me off a piece.
Kit Kat bar?
Well,
is that what they're calling it in Southern California?
What did I used to say? I used to say, shake it, but don't break it. But if you break it, I want a piece.
Okay.
that was before I was married, ladies and gentlemen. We got Randy in the house. What's up, Randy? Got Randy in the house. We got The Way. What's up, gentlemen? Thank you for being here. The Way. I'm not sure The Way. Welcome to the show. Brand new. We got Angel in the house. She's our Facebook user. Yeah, she's a Facebook user.
But
we got the other French Canadian guy, Jean-Guy Poirier. He was on the Raw&Unscripted show this week. So thank you for being here, Jean-Guy. We're definitely going to be having a great conversation. So you had a good time over the holidays, but it was just a little bit challenging, huh?
Yeah, no, it was a good time. I'm just trying to set up our guest. I was just trying to alley past, just trying to make it good. But honestly though, when there's people in your house for 11 days, anytime you shift from what's your current situation to something new, whether intentional or unintentional, there's a response, and in that response comes emotion, comes stress, whether it's good or bad. And so things are going on right now, between COVID, and we've got to do things differently and work from home. All those things bring stress to us, and how we manage that is up to us. And this was a micro, for 11 days of what we're all going on to collectively with the world right now. So
hell yeah.
And so what about you? Having a little kid is the biggest thing right now, of course, over Christmas. What was his face when, what were some of the moments?
He was rad. He was so rad. We just took it easy. It was just my wife and myself. It was just me, Barb and Jackson. We didn't go see the extended family over in Long Beach. Didn't go to Chicago, obviously. So it was just chill. It was awesome. I mean, he came and we let him sleep in the bed that night because he was like, I'm going to get up and see Santa get the cookies and everything. We were like, no. And he always likes to sleep in our bed. So you want to sleep in our bed? Like, yeah. And I woke up 6:30 and I was sitting there just meditating and just thinking about stuff. Then all of a sudden he woke up and he's like, oh. And I said, Merry Christmas, buddy. He's like, oh, Santa came. He's like, let's go. He's waking mom up. And he's like, we go downstairs and we were like, fucking, I'm awake, but she's groggy eyed. But just the presence and everything. He was just like, the only thing I would say is that he was like, okay. And then he was like, what, is there any more? And I'm like, dude, you got a lot of stuff. I mean, geez, we had to make room for all of his new stuff, but no, he loves it. He's stoked about it. But what's funny is he only wants to play with his toys when we play with them. He doesn't really want to play on his own. So he's like, come on, play Pirates. Come on, play Ghostbusters. He's into Ghostbusters big time right now. So it's cool. It's fun to see him illuminated. And before we crush his dreams and tell him that Santa doesn't exist.
So now for next year what you got to do. You got to buy toys that you like. If you're going to be playing with them 50% of the time, then you got to make sure they're good toys.
Yeah. Look, you got a guitar. All right. Let's
start jamming, start a band.
Yeah, we actually got him little mini drums, but he hasn't even played them once. I played them more than he has, but yeah, it's been amazing. So we're blessed. I mean, we had a great New Year's Eve. We just kicked it here at the house, did nothing overly crazy, and just enjoyed the moments, like I talk about.
Nice.
But we got some other people in the house. We got our friend Robert's in the house. He says, good evening, everybody. Right. We got Jacqueline Rose in the house. She says, hello, Christopher Scott. May the force be with you tonight. The force is always with us, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for being here. You're awesome. And yes, we got some people in the house. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here. We always appreciate you guys spending your time with us. And tonight's going to be a very, very impactful show. So highly recommend you have something that you could take notes with. And of course, as always, ask us questions, and more importantly, ask our guest questions. This is an amazing opportunity for you guys to get answers on anything that's troubling you, that might be sticking in your wicket for 2022 that you want to overcome and rise above. So we just appreciate you guys being here. And without any further ado, we're going to welcome our guest tonight. His name is Jacque Ecuyer, and he's going to be here talking about how we can rise above our challenges. What's up, brother Jacque? How are you?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are you?
Awesome. You're just fresh back from Jamaica, and you renewed your vows. That was awesome.
Yeah, well, I wanted to surprise my wife with something. Everything fell into place where our maid of honor and best man were on the trip. It was the same beach we got married in, so I popped a surprise, and awesome. She was excited about that. So, it's the little things in life that mean the most, especially to our other halves, our significant others, I think.
Yeah, I need to do a better job of that, surprising her and doing special things. We've been together for now 20 years, and sometimes just you get a little complacent and whatnot. So we're going to be celebrating our 20-year anniversary together. We've been married for 14, so I know she's doing something special for that. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. She won't watch the show, but I know she's doing something. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do. But if you have any tips or advice, let me know. maybe we'll renew our vows too.
There you go. If she watches the show, she's got her idea now. She's gonna say, "Look at this guest that you have on here. He's willing to renew his vows with his wife, and you can't do that." I probably just threw you under the bus, dude.
Well, she never watches the show anyway. Sometimes she watches it and surprises me, and she's like, "Oh, you said that about me," and I'm like, "Oh yeah,
oh, wow,
yeah." We got Mary Kay in the house. She says, "Lee says hi. He is doing fun dad stuff at the zoo with the kidlets." So we got proxy people saying hello. That's awesome. We appreciate it. So man, I know you just got back from your trip and you had some airline challenges in getting back, all due to the recent outbreak of Omicron and all that other good stuff. One of the things I want to just start off in the conversation tonight, and something we've done with our previous guests, is just what have you learned about yourself and about others in society during the last 2 years of this craziness?
Well, I will say one of the major things is a lot of people's true colors really come out during COVID. I've learned a lot about a lot of things that I didn't know about people, and I've had to let some people go out of my life just because, man, they weren't who I thought they were. It turned into a me thing. This whole thing with COVID has turned into me. It's all about me. It's not a we society anymore. It's, well, why do I need to get vaccinated? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Well, you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for everybody else. You're doing it for your wife and your kids, and I just think it's very unfortunate that it's become a selfish, not a selfless society that we live in nowadays.
So what have you learned about yourself during this process? Because I know Scott and I have talked about this a lot, and the things that we've learned and the things we've discovered about ourselves. What are some of those things about you?
Well, I just look back, especially this past year, on what I'm blessed with. I don't look at the negative. I was blessed with 2 granddaughters within 4 months' time. So for me, that was the ending of my year. So it was, I think, September. And then, or not September, August, and then December. And I was blessed with that. And I didn't look at things negatively. I went out and got vaccinated, and I went and got my boosters, but that was to protect my family. That was to protect my wife and my grandchildren. And because I'm the head of my own organization, it looks very good in the public eye when the head of a nonprofit organization that's very prominent in the community is doing their diligence. And I don't try to preach to anybody. I mean, if you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. If you don't, you don't. I'm not here to do that. That's not what the show is about.
Right.
But I just learned to do the best I can for my family and my loved ones is all I can do. That's really, and that's the bottom line for anybody out there.
Awesome. Have you had to, and some of the people you've had to wish well, this is a personal question, but have any of them been family or relatives?
No, but there were some close friends, and just because my beliefs weren't the same as theirs, it turned into something derogatory. Like if you look at social media now, Facebook, Instagram, I don't care what you're on. And people just tear people apart. It's not even about like, wow, I don't agree with your views. It's like, wow, you're in it. Can we swear on the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's good. But no, it's just almost like, oh, you're an asshole and your family's, this, and your son's a little pain in the ass. It just goes on above to a personal level where they're just attacking people for no reason. And it's just, I don't understand it. I guess nobody understands this. No one truly understands COVID. I never thought that I would live through a pandemic and food shortages and all the things that we're living through now. It just blows my mind.
And you're up in Canada, right? No. You're in Albany, New York.
That's your buddy, Jean Guy.
Yeah, Jean Guy.
Yeah, I know him.
For some reason, I was like thinking that you were that.
If you look at my name, it looks like I am from Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, looking well and rested, Jacque. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, I am after that plane trip. And it was alludes to what Scott was saying before about how we get so stressed out. So real quick in this snippet, and I talked to Chris about this. So let me tell you, if you don't have to travel now, do not travel by air anywhere. I swear to God, I'm telling you. So real quick, listen, man, for the viewers out there. So this is how my day went. We were supposed to get home on Wednesday. So our morning started out with an hour and a half in Montego Bay Airport, 90-degree heat, an hour and a half wait. They had 900 to 1,000 people in there with like 4 clerks. So everyone's hot, everyone's heated, everyone's got to wear a mask. We get up to the counter, finally get on the plane, 30-minute delay, then another 30 minutes on the tarmac. Okay, so we're God knows how, 2 hours behind. We get out towards Baltimore. 20 minutes before we land, Southwest notifies my wife, hey, by the way, your connector's canceled. 20 minutes from the airport. So now our connector's canceled. So now I get there. My wife's distraught. Now we're trying to figure out what to do. We're with a group of 10 people. I just went ahead and got a motel room right there, shuttle service, yada, yada, yada. That worked out. Got up the next morning, got on the flight, and then sat another hour and 15 minutes on the tarmac the next day. So let me tell you, they canceled 1,800 flights that day across the board with all the airlines. So to all the viewers and listeners, if you have to do not travel by air. It's horrendous. And my stress level was, so that's why I was saying when Scott was saying, I was to that point where I was stressed out and had to bring myself back down. So try to calm my wife down and calm myself down. But man, it was crazy.
So, Jacque, here's a question based on exactly what you're saying, because, whether it's airline travel, whether it's kids in school, one kid's got COVID, can we send the other ones? Like, everyone's going through something big right now. And so you bring up a very interesting point. One of the things that Chris and I have preached for the last few years, doing the show, is the importance of realizing that everyone comes into your life to teach you a lesson. And so because of that, when someone's there to teach you a lesson, we should learn it. But here's a question for you. You're dealing with that, friend gets COVID, family members sick, and all these things going on. While these people are throwing all this negativity at you, you're a human being. At what point do you say, okay, I can't have that person in my life, or I need to remove them as a friend? Because sure, we have a lesson to learn, but are we required to learn all those lessons at one time? And I know that's a long loaded question, but I know that a lot of people are feeling that right now. So what's a good answer to that? When do you drop somebody? When do you remove somebody? How do you decompress in that?
Well, I think I agree with the point that you said there. That people come into our lives for a reason. I've always believed that everyone crosses our path for a reason. It's not our job to understand each and every time that happens. So I don't think that taking everything on at once is the correct answer. So I agree with you there. I don't think trying to take 15 different things on at one time. You sort of have to almost step back from the situation and almost put it in a classification, almost, go by lead of importance.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Prioritization, just to go down and say, okay, take a step back. Okay. So I have Tom over here. He's got COVID. This is my cousin or whatever. My wife's distraught about travel. My son's got a classmate that he's sick too. And the parents are all distraught asking for advice. Okay. Now we're going to step back. We're just using those 3. Okay. So my wife comes first and foremost. Okay. I need to be there for my wife. How do we decompress that situation and still keep these people at bay? Hey, you know what, Tom, I know what you're saying. Just give me 5 minutes. I have something else I need to take care of, and I'll be right back with you. So I think it's a matter of just, as you said, prioritization and just being patient. I mean, patience is tough to learn. We all know that. It's not easy to learn patience. I'm one of the most, my wife will tell you, if she was watching this, I used to be one of the most impatient people in the world. But then I just realized that I'm causing myself even more stress. And I'm literally just beating myself down by letting all this other outside pressure get to me. And I can't I have to take care of me, and not in a selfish way, but you have to take care of the me first.
Yes.
If I don't take care of me mentally, especially mentally and emotionally, I can't take care of my wife, cousin Tom, and my son's classmate and her parents. So it's all has to be you first. You have to prioritize yourself first, and then you can move outward across the other areas, if that makes any sense.
All the sense in the world. We preach that all the time, but it's a weird thing to listen to because it sounds selfish when it's really the most selfless thing you could do to fill your own cup first.
Because I think even like what you guys do, especially when I watch a lot of Chris's things when he's on the road, when he's roaming around, he's doing his talks, for him to be able to do that, if he's not within his own mind and he's sane, I don't want to say sane might not be the right word, but if he's
that's a stretch.
That's a stretch. If he's comfortable within himself, if everything is almost to a woo-saw level that he knows, okay, I'm relaxed, I'm good. Now I can focus on doing this video to impact so many other lives. And that's what I do in my live videos and my group sessions is I sit back and maybe do some meditation or to do yoga before I do a class and say, okay, I'm centered now. Now I'm relaxed. I can come out and now I can address all of these other issues with a calm and open mind. And I guess that's the best way to put it.
What's your quickest go-to tool? You just mentioned meditation. Chris and I, we're always talking about breath, quick meditations.
Breath work's great. Meditation's great. Just to sit there and be able to close your eyes and block everything else out for, it doesn't only have to be 2 to 3 minutes. If you can just block. I know people are going to say, well, that's easier said than done. Not really. If you just sit there and close your eyes and just picture blank, just picture nothing. I mean, you could do any of these listeners now, watchers, people that are watching could do this right now, and you can. And block out the outside noise. It's not, like I said, meditation, breath work you mentioned is very good. Yoga, if I'm doing a big class or something like a seminar or something, I'll do a half-hour yoga and I'll try to center myself that way. I mean, there are outlets. And the biggest problem with society, I think, is that people say, well, there's nothing out there. There's no help for me. Have we all heard that? There's no help. There's nowhere for me to go.
Bullshit.
We can show you thousands of hotlines and people just such as ourselves and thousands of others that are willing to help. You need to make that step to say, I need support. I need somebody to help me. I have a problem. What can we do about this?
How does somebody know when they need help? Because I see a lot of people who say, me included, there's times where, I'm getting crushed, but I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the guy who's in charge. I can't be hurt. And I know we talk about men a lot, but let's talk whether it's women, child, or men. How does somebody know when to ask for help? What would you say to that?
Well, I mean, it's for me, I always open up with men. I know you're going across the board. I open up with men.
It's perfect.
Okay, so I have my conscious men's group, and that's how we try to address that problem. So, I mean, if you find yourself getting angry, getting enraged at small things, if you start having, mood swings automatically right off the bat, you already know that there's something eating at you. So you're sitting there and you're like, man, all of a sudden your wife may say, hey, we're having spaghetti for dinner. Well, I don't want any goddamn spaghetti. But that's what happens because us as men, and Scott brought up a good point, us as men don't want to put our burden on our significant others or our kids. We feel like we have to be the protector and the provider and we have to be the strong one. Mm-hmm. Well, there are times that we need someone else to listen, and we have to allow, and this is what I teach in my men's group, is that we have to allow our significant others into our world. Yes. If your wife or your boyfriend or husband or whatever whatever your situation is, and they say, wow, how was your day? Instead of saying, I don't want to talk about it. No, let's talk about it. I do it with my wife. My wife asks me this is God honest truth. Every single day I come home from work, she says, hey, honey, how was your day? And either I'll say, hey, I had a lousy day, or it was a great day. If it's a lousy day, she'll say, do you want to talk about it? Not right now. Okay. She leaves me alone. Maybe somewhere down the road, we'll sit back and revisit it. And I'll say, hey, can we talk about earlier? And she'll listen and she'll say, do you want my advice or do you want me just to listen?
Yeah.
See, my wife's very understanding.
That right there. I just want to hold you for 1 second, Jacque. That right there. Mm-hmm. Say that one more time, because that question right there, that comment, do you want my advice or do you want me to listen, can literally change relationships.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if just in case people who are listening didn't fully get that, that is one of the best skill sets you can take, because especially as guys, you want to fix everything. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. Sometimes someone just wants you to shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah.
And so to ask the question, what do you want from me right now? And pause and get the answer. That's gold right there.
Well, that's the thing. I think everyone can be a speaker. We can all speak. Chris can talk about stuff. We can speak on all kinds of topics. But what makes you a complete person is being a good listener. And that's being able to sit back and not say a word.
Yep, that's so true. I learned that when my ex-girlfriend bought me the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I was like, what the fuck do I need to read this book? And it changed my perspective, because to your point, Jacque, I mean, exactly. Men want to fix things. Women just want us to listen. And my wife used to have that biggest complaint. She goes, I don't tell you anything anymore because you always want to fix it. I'm like, well, because I feel bad. And I feel like with everything that I do and the things I know what I can do to help you. And she goes, but now, so we do that in our house now. The same thing. I was like, well, do you want my advice or do you just want me to listen? And it's changed things around so massively. And I can imagine people are watching this and listening to this. Well, you guys are enlightened and you guys are this and you have men's group and you guys are speakers. Jacque, I want you to talk about your journey, because I know part of your journey, and I know that will bring it all around to see the work that you've done to become the man that you are today. So share with us a little bit about your journey as well.
Yeah, I can put it in and a quick synopsis, I
Oh,
think.
No, you don't have to be quick. We got time.
Yeah, I mean, the story is, it started at being bullied, obviously, as a child for a couple of years by two different individuals, where I was physically and emotionally abused. I mean, stuffed in trash cans, chased home from school, physically beat up. I mean, I would wait in school until these two, I could see them out the window, and I would talk to anybody in that school to make my time longer in school, to hopefully that they would. And some days they never, they didn't do anything. Some days they chased me all the way home. So it started with bullying. That was my first step on the down the mental health minefield, is what I like to call it. Which led to, down the road, my drug addiction, which was cocaine was my addiction, and 28 years clean from drugs.
Yeah.
Today, so as of this year, I'm 28 years clean, which is truly amazing. And that was only after looking at myself in the mirror one day after a 3-day bender of cocaine and booze, and saying, and just, I didn't recognize myself. I didn't know who I was. And I went to my family and I said, listen, I need your help. I'm going down a bad path. This is not me. I mean, this is a kid that was on the honor roll in school. I was an altar boy in church. I mean, I was that clean cut kid as a child. And then what monster I turned into for, hanging around with the wrong people and hanging out with the wrong crowd and getting involved with that. So through my addiction, I lost my mother. She was 47 years old. I lost her from breast cancers, which sort of set me on a little form of mild PTSD, where I went through some rage issues. I was destroying things, walls, door, anything I could punch holes in. I went through this stage of why my mom, why did it have to be her? Fast forward to my battle, which I still do every day, with depression, and then surviving multiple suicide attempts. So I've literally lived through the entire mental health minefield, so to speak, and turned it around to create my own nonprofit organization called 4S for Life, which does include an anti-bullying campaign, something I'm big on, which does include my conscious men's group, something I'm big on, has a domestic violence support group, and we were just recently trained on LGBTQ training for educators, our faculties, parents, and children. So that's something else we're going to unleash into the community as well.
Dude,
I love it.
Mad respect. Mary Kay says, congratulations. Robert says, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we had Margaret up here, said she wanted to comment earlier. She said, fill your own cup first. Love this. Absolutely. What do you attribute your success in that turnaround, in that recovery? Was it the people that you were around? Was it that you had a big enough why? Was it religious? What was it that got you to get through those dark periods?
I think it goes back to exactly what Scott said earlier. I knew that I needed help, but I reached out. And that's all I can say to anyone out there that is suffering. Don't be embarrassed. Okay. Here's, and I practiced this earlier because I knew I'd be on the show. And I said, wow, I've said this to a lot of people. When they say that we have mental health deficiencies, they always say that we're odd, or we're different, or we're weird. I like to tell people you're gifted. You were given a gift. You're unique. And it's a gift of uniqueness. It has nothing to do with being different, odd, or weird. You are unique. So if you take that uniqueness and try to turn it into something, the person that you want to be, the things that you want to have, the person that you want to become, if you accept your uniqueness and accept it in that capacity, on that positive level, and don't worry about what everyone else has to think, you're unique, you're important, and you move forward with that, you can accomplish anything. That's my thought. I created that. Like, I came up with that concept, I don't know how long ago, and people are like, wow, that's amazing. And I'm like, but it's not. It's very simple. You're unique. We're not weird. There's nothing odd about us. So I reached out. I said I needed help. And for those out there that have ever dealt with detox or recovery and sobriety, when you see in the movies, when you go through detox, it's about 1,000 times worse, because we didn't have the money to send me to a facility. I did it at my house, locked in my bedroom for my family, with night sweats and night terrors. And let me tell you something, you don't ever want to live through that. That is one of the worst experiences, and it is the most humbling experience that you'll ever go through in your life.
Is detoxing off of drugs or detoxing off of cocaine? Yeah. I read a book about a guy who detoxed off of heroin and did basically the same thing, locked himself in basically in a bathtub for 10 days and describes the whole process. And I was just like, wow.
There you go. That's it. Wow. Pretty much same concept, different drug, but same concept.
So look at this, because when you're using that word unique, I like that. And I also think that uniqueness is part of our process, because here's the deal. Let's just say that somebody who's never been bullied starts an anti-bullying program and has no concept of what you're really feeling, and starts saying, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. You got this, Jacque. It's no big deal. Whatever. You're going to be like, what? But for you to go through that and go, I know exactly what you're feeling. You feeling this, and the kid's going, oh my God, or the man is going, yes. You just became the ultimate teacher by experience. I mean, that's why these things happen here on earth, is we go through those things. And so for somebody who is struggling or being bullied or in a space where you're not living the life that you want for whatever reason, that uniqueness is actually, as crazy as it sounds, an opportunity that's going to make you powerful later. And it's a really hard thing to process. And what do you think about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And like you said, the thing I always preach is, people ask me, every once in a while they say, well, what makes your organization better than this one? And I said, it doesn't make me better. It makes me unique. And again, it goes back to unique. And they say, why? And I say, because you can go to school and get a 4-year degree and an 8-year degree. And I credit all those people that went in and got psychology degrees and behavioral degrees. That's fine. But the bottom line is, when you stand in front of a class and you're talking out of a book, hi, I'm Tom Smith, or if they say this, you say that, that doesn't get you anywhere. That's why it doesn't work for everybody. So if it was you, Scott, or you, Chris, and you had a problem, you came and talked to me, say yours was depression and yours might have been, hey, I tried to take my own life. And you came to me and I say, listen, I truly understand. And you hear my story. That's when the light goes off and you go, wow, this dude really resonates. He truly, truly understands. I can open up and confide in him. And there's the beginning of your support system. It's about connection. Human beings were put on this earth to connect. And on every walk of life, I don't care what way, professional, intimate, it's about human connection and interaction. That is what humanity is all about.
And that's trauma breaks that up. Trauma breaks the whole thing up.
It breaks that chain. So you have to find your way back. Okay, so you have a death, like I lost my mom. We'll use that. Okay, so I unleashed. I went out and I drank and I did drugs and I smashed shit. I beat people. I mean, I was a complete asshole, but I was enraged because my mother was in the choir. She was an amazing, amazing woman. I mean, we had a great relationship. And, I would always ask God, obviously I went to Catholic church. I believed in God. And I'd always ask, why her? Why such a good person? Why at such a young age? And I just felt like I never got the answers. So I went through it. It takes trials and tribulations to get to anything. Everyone thinks that you start here and you get here. Well, you have to do all this in here to get here. You can't, it doesn't just go from here to here,
Spiritual bypassing. Oh, yeah, we see it all the time.
Bam. It's like, hey, how do you get here? Like I see somebody could say, wow, I see Chris, he's doing really good up here. And he started here. Well, you didn't hear about all Chris's shit in here to get here.
Uh-huh. The 20-year overnight success.
Exactly. We've all
didn't see me cry myself to sleep, right?
Yeah. I mean, they see us out here, like Scott said, wow, you guys are good speakers and you have a men's group together. Yeah. Well, we've all been through our line of shit, to get here. We've all been
still
here.
Going
That's
through
why,
it.
Exactly. That's why it resonates with us and your viewers and your listeners. Because here's the thing. It's 3 dudes talking about shit. It's not me and 2 women or Chris and 2 women. It's 3 guys. All right. Chris, we can all go as alpha males. I'm tattooed. He is. I mean, we're that guy, but we're not.
Scott's
afraid.
Tattooed too. He's got one on his butt.
Well, you can.
I got all of my arms in my butt.
But I mean, that's the way people. So when we were talking about partners and opening up to people, if you ask a woman what's the 3 most sexy attributes on a man are, and this is God's honest truth, looks is not in the top 3. I'm going to be honest with you. Sense of humor is in there. Yep. Vulnerability. And if the ability to show emotions is the other one, and they love that. And women can agree or not. I don't know if you have any women out here now, but women love a man that can open up and isn't afraid to cry, isn't afraid to say, "Hey, listen, I hurt." Us as men, we have dreams and aspirations and hopes, just like everybody else. So why should we have to conceal them? Because society says we have to have the alpha male complex, and we got to be this big fucking 400-pound dude in the gym. No, fuck you. Whoever made that up is an idiot. Seriously, dude. Like I've taught my sons to be affectionate. My grandson's affectionate. They come up, they give me kisses and hugs. My boys tell me they love me every time they get off the phone. I love you, Dad. And that's cool. That for me as a man, that's cool. That's what makes you a real man. That type of stuff right there is what makes you a real man.
Well, I mean, we only lived to be like 40 at some point, and people were running around with like battle axes, just trying to stay alive.
Well, so that's different.
But I guess what happened was at some point being a Viking was the only way. And the minute that you were sitting there in connection and you didn't have like animals chasing you, trying to kill you, or the braving the weather with no home, now we're actually in a civilized society. That's when we need to start being vulnerable. And hundreds of years went by where no one did it. Everyone just sat there and said, "I'm Viking, I'm Thor, I kill." It's like, dude, we're at the dinner table, pass the potatoes, pretty good, bro. But it's stupid. And to the point, it's no one's fault. the fault is now that we have all the information to do nothing about it now.
Mhm.
Like it was no
Ignorance.
one's fault. I mean, listen, what did you, when you're a kid and you're in high school, what are you supposed to be? Play 3 sports, get all the girls, never cry. Somebody punches you, punch them 5 times back. Like all the same shit. Like
Be
we're
the
supposed to
funniest guy.
just be like some tough guy. And maybe you succeeded in it, but I can guarantee you come up empty at some point because you're going, okay, that's it. There's a point in your life you're going to come up empty and go, oh, that's it. Okay, I'm tough. Oh, okay, I made money. Okay, I have the girl. It's like, okay. And that's not it. What it is you already said the word a million times. It's connection. It's connection. And that's what we're all trying to get back to.
Yeah, you got to be connected. You got to be connected with yourself. I mean, Margaret says here, we aren't taught to allow feelings, and it's so true. I mean, if they taught emotional intelligence in the school instead of, you know, the square root of an isosceles triangle or whatever, you know, the world would be in a much better place. And I love the fact that you brought up vulnerability, because I mean, that's so important. I do a men's group on Clubhouse every single week, and we talk about that, the power of vulnerability. What are your suggestions for people who have stereotypically been in that state of that alpha male and they're doing all this? What are some steps that they can do to get in touch with that vulnerable side, and also be able to deal with the flack that they're going to get from their mates, right? I remember I've had guys telling me like, oh, you can't, I wore a pink tie one time and they're like, oh, what a pussy, you're a fag, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I can wear a fucking pink tie. I can cry at the Notebook and I can still fucking kick your ass. So I had a mechanism for handling. I'm like, by the way, vulnerability is actually a sign of strength. And so we talk about that a lot on the show, and we talk about it in our group coaching programs and whatnot. What are your thoughts on that for somebody who's listening tonight who recognizes that they want to go down that road, but they're so afraid of the judgments and the ridicule they're going to get from their friends and their family?
Well, I think if you're truly in a relationship that has some substance to it, I think any man who opens up to their mate, first off, you start with your mate, whatever that, whoever that is. And I think your mate will accept you for that. I mean, I'm not asking her to go up and bawl on her shoulders day one. Just say, hey, honey, I've been going through some things, and I'd like to sit down and talk. I'm going to tell you right now, there's very few women that if their man came to them and said that, would be like, ah, fuck you, and now I'm not talking. There may be a few, but I don't think there's going to be many. I mean, if you can start there, and that's where you start building your confidence, because if your wife or life partner accepts you for who you are, and that starts to, again, it's all about getting your guard down. So we're going to go into that with our guard up. Oh my God, like you just said, oh my God, he's going to call me a fag, and this guy's going to call me a bitch, and I'm a pussy, and whatever. First off, don't give a shit what everyone else thinks. Bottom line is we got to knock that shit off too. I don't care what, and they could say, well, Chris is this or Scott's that. It doesn't matter. Stop worrying about, we spend more time in our lives wasting what we think about other people's thoughts of us. You don't owe anybody anything. The only person you owe it to is the person that you're looking at in the mirror every day. You owe it to yourself. And if you're happy and content and you love yourself, it opens up your entire world. So come from within. Positivity is brought up from within yourself. So go to your mate and talk to them. That's what I did with my wife. Hey, honey, I'm having a real shitty day. Can we sit down and talk? And you know what? Start with something small. It doesn't have to be, I'm not saying unload. I mean, if you had like 10 years of bad shit and you're just going to fucking beat on her like Mike Tyson, no, that may not go over well. But I mean, start with little things. Hey, you know what? Today, I had this thing with the boss, and, we got in this argument, and I walked away and I punched a wall and I was pissed off. And you'll see her just sort of, at least my wife. I mean, she was actually like, there was a crack of a smile like the first day I started talking to her about things. And I could see that she was happy that I was opening up. And then we started to have some dialogue. And again, as long as they don't push, most of it, and my recommendation to the other halves for these men, don't push back. As Scott says, listen. Just let us come out and vent. Let us come out and get some things off our chest a little bit at a time. And you know what? I think it made our relationship so much better. It made mine and my kids' relationship so much better, because I was an angry dude. I mean, after my mom passed and moving on, my wife could tell you horror stories. I mean, I'm a retired fighter. I got in fights all the time. All you have to do is look at me wrong. And I'm not a dude that used to be, I wouldn't ask you like, hey, what are you looking at? I would just go up and smash dudes at the bar. God honest. I would literally just go up and punch people off bar stools. I had no problem. My wife got called home from work so many times to come get me from places. Oh yeah, I was that dude. I turned into the guy that I didn't want to be. So I turned into the bully. And then I realized that was not the answer, because I was imposing my will on other people that necessarily didn't do me wrong. So my wife said to me, this shit needs to stop. And that's exactly what she said to me. This needs to stop. And you know what? Here I am now, 16 years with her. And guess what? It stopped. And I learned that, being the asshole, being like Chris said, the tough guy and all that shit, they're not impressed by that. They're more embarrassed by that than they are anything else, because you look like an idiot when you do that shit. Seriously.
And let's be clear about that. The right girl is not impressed with that, because there is a girl or two out there in the world that we've all seen.
You're
for
right.
some reason, guys think, oh, but she's so pretty, and why couldn't I be tougher? Or whatever your thing is that you're addicted to that. You're just addicted to abuse with a girl like that. Anybody worth their grain of salt, to your point, is always going to want somebody who's going to be vulnerable, because that's what creates true connection. And true connection is what we're missing, period. I mean, there's really nothing else to say there. You're on point. The minute two people connect deeply, that connection is going to turn into something that you don't need drugs. The anger can dissipate. You can work through your shit. I mean, it's huge. There's,
it's what not. I'm sorry, Scott. I mean to cut you
go
off.
ahead.
So and like you said, I think that I mean, we're all probably about the same age. You all know when you have that relationship that has something. We've all been down that road when we were younger. Where you just want to, just to you just go out and fucking bang girls and just say, fuck it. You know what? See ya. I don't need you. I don't need one night stands. We've all done it. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. And then, and then when you find that woman, and I'll tell you, there's two things that pointed out my now wife to me. And I knew it was the right fit. So number one was when my father passed away in 2013. My now wife had never met him. He was sick and everything else. And we had gone in. I went in to do a one-on-one with my dad, and she came in with me. And he had one of his lungs removed. He had mesothelioma. So he had a tube in, couldn't talk, and he wanted his lips swabbed. She went over without even batting an eye, grabbed the cup with the cotton swab, went over and just started doing it. And my father just sort of looked. And I said, okay. I said to my sister, who was the matriarch at the time, and I said, wow, that girl's got to be a keeper. I mean, you don't just find women that just, hey, you know what? She's like, most women be like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit, And the other thing was, when I was doing my own podcast for 4S for Life, the producer was a friend of mine that knew both of us for the length of our relationship. And my audience wanted to see her come on and talk about the suicide attempts. And what they wanted to know was, on the other side of it, is her being the support system. How did she react to it? Right. So I went to my wife and I said, listen, the audience wants you to come on. And my wife's not as extroverted as me, and I didn't think she'd go for it. And she looked at me and she said, yeah, I'll come on. All right. I was impressed. And we had never talked about it. Just mind you, after the first attempt, we had never talked. We brushed it under the rug, and so I never got the answer to that question. So we're sitting there a few minutes into the podcast, and the producer, my friend Herb, goes, can I ask Katrina a question? And I said, absolutely. Go ahead. So he said, what made you stay? And I'm waiting, as the audience is waiting, because I've never heard this answer. And my wife looked at Herb, and she looked at me, and she said, and now mind you, the first attempt was about 6 months into our relationship. No, we only been dating 6 months. Wow. 6 months. I just was going through a lot of shit. And so she looked at him and looked at me, and she said, because I saw something in him and I knew I couldn't live without him. And that is the only podcast I've ever cried on, because it hit me so deep to the core that someone loved me that much that, at that point when I attempted to take my life, I had no self-worth. And to have this beautiful woman sitting here that I've known for 6 months literally just take my breath away with that one comment, and to know that that someone could love me, that I didn't deserve that, but man, she just fucking just flattened me with that one, man. I was just like blown away. And that's what I just knew, right? I mean, how can you? I mean, that's as deep as you're going to get love, man. That's not. And just so you know, not to be
the crust of a motherfucker she loves.
That first attempt was actually me trying to slit my own throat. So a very aggressive. Yeah, she had to come out and physically remove it from me. So I mean, a lot of podcasts won't let me share that because of the graphic nature of because it's a very violent way to end it. But that was my choice at the time. And she came out and she had both hands on my hand, and instead of saying, when you're in that spot, all you see is blackness. And there's no tunnel, there's no peripherals. It's tunnel vision. And a lot of people will say the world needs you, the world's a better place. You don't listen to any of that. Technically, for you, it's all bullshit. So what she said to me was, Nicholas, these are my sons. Nicholas needs you. Tyler needs you. So now she's bringing me back because she's making me focus not on the name or the words, but now I have the vision. Now I see my sons. Wow, man, I can't leave them without a debt. She goes, I need you. It's Katrina. I love you. This is how she brought me out of it. It took her about 8 to 9 minutes, but she was able to talk me down, and I commend her for that. I mean, she literally bolted on my deck where I was. She had no idea. I just went out, had a knife, sitting on the porch, and I'm ready. And here she comes, ripping out the door and right in my hand, and she started right in. And I'm like, she wasn't even trained to do this shit. Like, what? So yeah, to me, that is. I have the ultimate relationship as far as I'm concerned. I have the ultimate woman. I mean, she is, man, just amazing.
You do, man. You do. That is an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's powerful. That's powerful stuff right there. Mary Kay says here, from a female's perspective, obviously, men, please tell us what you were feeling. I respect it. Yes, absolutely. Robert says here, my mother became the unity that kept the family together. Yes, Robert, thank you for being here. Deborah says here, some people can't accept love. They push back. What is your advice in that when people push back on love?
I think people are scared of love, and it could be something that you know, like they've gone through. I mean, we don't know everyone's backstory when you meet somebody for the first time, or you know, you start dating or you start courting a girl. I mean, we don't know what they're. So I think the best thing is that if you want to, maybe if you're too forward, some people are too forward. You know, maybe take that step back and not try to rush the moment. And I don't mean in a sexual or intimate way, just in any capacity. You know, maybe holding hands. Maybe if they pull away, okay, you know, it's all right. You know, I apologize. Hey, I'm sorry. You know, I didn't mean anything by that. And just try to feel them out, because again, we don't know if maybe they suffered abuse. Maybe they, you know, at any level, maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe one of their parents left home. Maybe I mean, there's so much that goes on with mental health. I mean, we're just scratching the surface with, you know, suicide and depression. I mean, you could be manic depressive, you could bipolar. I mean, we're not even crossing. There's so many different things that people could suffer from it. It's, you know, but rather than throw medication at it, which is what most doctors do nowadays, no offense, but you're not even a person anymore. You're a number and a dollar sign. Here, let me write you Percocets. Let me write you this. Then you wonder why you have a fucking opiate addiction all over the United States. Well, that's why. Because we don't take the time to diagnose it, because they're taboo topics and no one wants to talk about it. They brush it. No, it's not happening in my family. It's not happening in my community. Fuck you. It's happening in everyone's community, and everyone knows someone is dealing with it. Bottom line. So
true. You guys got to see. I don't know if you guys have seen the docuseries with Michael Keaton about the opioid crisis.
I can watch that.
Wow, that thing was powerful.
I need to watch that one.
It was off the hook, crazy. It was uncomfortable at spots. How truthful it was. It was truly crazy. John Gee says here, we all find our keeper, not always the first time, but holding out for the one is key. My partner turned me around while I was headed down a tough road. Absolutely. Susan says here, thank you, Susan, for being here. Hello, Mom. She says, this is an amazing show. Mary Kay saying she's your angel, which you already realized that. In what you're saying, Jacque, tonight, you know, and thinking about the vulnerability and thinking about, you know, getting in touch with ourselves and connection and seeking to understand, what are your thoughts on your process for finding empathy and forgiveness for yourself in some of the transgressions that you've done, and also for some of the people who have wronged you over the period of your life?
Well, it's tough. You know, a lot of times when I do events with the nonprofit organization, I take on a lot of emotional baggage on top of what I have. People are like, man, I don't know how you do it. Sometimes I don't know how I do it. It's very tough to take on. I mean, there's nights that I've literally sat after an event and laid on my wife's lap and just cried, and just because you just have to unload. Like, you know, it goes way back to what Scott said earlier. You have to mentally take care of yourself. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent.
Being empathy and forgiveness for yourself and for others.
Well, you know, people always ask me the age-old question, man, if you go back in time, would you ever change, you know, your life and the way you did things? And when I say no, they look at me like I'm, you know, like some kind of dipshit. And I'm like, and they go, well, really? You know, you were addicted to drugs. You did this. Yeah. But you know what? Out of all of those negative tribulations, you know, I was able to build a nonprofit organization from scratch and rise above all of that to help so many people. And that's, you know, for me, that's where I get my forgiveness for what I've done. I try to put that good karma out there saying, okay, I know I did a lot of bad shit. And I hurt a lot of people in a lot of ways, emotionally, mentally, I mean, physically. But I'm hoping that this sort of evens out, you know, that playing field. And I feel bad. And I actually went on live video one day on Facebook and went on live in front of 1,000 people and said, to all the people that I've hurt in my life, I want to apologize to everybody as a group, because I can't. And I literally did that. I just said, listen, I feel bad. If I've hurt you in any way, then I'm sorry for what I've done. You know, whatever transgression that I did to you, then I apologize for that from the bottom of my heart. And I will try to change my ways. Then it was well received, because who else does that shit? You know, no one goes on and apologizes to the entire world. You know, but I don't know if I don't forgive myself for a couple things. I still have a hard time forgiving myself with my father, especially because we didn't have a great relationship on the end. And he had remarried after my mother, and I didn't like the new woman. And to find out later that after my father had passed away, all the money that he had left his kids, she ended up taking for herself. So that just showed you her character. But
karma.
Yeah, I just never got over it. I blame myself for not having that relationship with my father, and I shouldn't. I mean, I could have reached out more as the son. I should have done my part. And my wife tells me, and my sister tells me, hey, you know what, your father had just as much the part to play in it. But I don't look at it that way. I beat myself. I'm my own toughest critic. I mean, I beat myself up over shit like that. Um, that same night I had to send my youngest son, to see his grandfather. And I asked him. I said, Tyler, do you want to go in and see Grandpa by yourself, or I can go in with you? And that was a hard decision because my son had never witnessed death before, and he said he wanted to go in, and he did. He came out and he walked up the hallway in the hospital corridor, and then he broke down and see my son hurt, and then I thought I did the wrong thing, and I beat myself up over that every day. And I shouldn't, because he needed to see that, but I didn't want to see my son hurt like that. I'm a very emotional person, and for me, family is everything. I would murder people for my family. And my family is everything to me. And when you hurt my sons, my grands, whatever, it's just I don't do well with it.
Me and Scott are in your family, right? What a be in Jacque's family. I'll be in Jacque's family.
No, but I've always been protective over my. I mean, and that's just me. I've just everything in death. I have a hard time with death. I can't go to weeks. I can't. I just can't. I don't know what it is. It's just something, the finality or whatever it may be. It takes me some time to process that. I really have a hard time dealing with that.
You need to connect with my friend Jacque Brokus. I don't know if he's on here tonight.
He was. I thought he was on here.
I haven't seen him.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but the Jacque here, he was actually talking about yesterday. We had a great conversation for like an hour and a half, and he was talking about karmic balance. And I think that's pretty interesting how you're going back and you're making amends for some of the things that you've done. That's what I truly believe in that as well. Thank you for sharing that, because it's so important for us to have this honest conversation. And Mary Kay says here, it's up to us to shift the stigma of mental illness. Absolutely, Mary Kay. Thank you. You're a part of that as well. Appreciate that. Deborah says here, know first that you are while without anyone else. You don't need anyone to complete you. Then find someone equal in the vortex, resonating with the same vibration to share life with. Yes, absolutely, Deborah. Thank you for much. Thank you for being there. Mary Kay says here, sometimes I say I forgive myself for any decisions that I've made that do not reflect the person that I strive to be. Having compassion. Absolutely. That's Margaret. I'm sorry. Margaret. Mary Kay says, I'm trying. My signal may be at a dog whistle frequency. Kidding. I agree. Absolutely. It's the power of forgiveness and that power of empathy to be able to realize that it's all part of the journey, that we're going to have our highs and our lows, that we're going to go through. And it's important that we surround ourselves with the right people. That's why I surround myself with Scott, surround myself with you and all these beautiful people out here today. Because, when we have those moments, it's important for us to lean on other people.
Jacque, here's a quick question for you. What's it going to take for you to forgive yourself for those last few things? Because you clearly identified that all the other stuff that you're walking towards forgiveness with were teachable moments that allow you to be unique and then be an amazing teacher, an amazing human being, different than somebody who went to school for 8 years to study psychology, because you're real and you've been there. So what about those moments? Somebody's going through those moments right now. How do you turn that into forgiveness? Because, here's the reality. All right. We know we're spirits first, humans second, but it seems really weird because right now we're all talking as humans. There's me, you, and Chris sitting here. We see each other like if we were in a bar somewhere, be giving each other hugs, drinking beers, whatever. So it's hard to think that, your dad literally left, but he's still here. And then, we could go down that road of another show about it, but what's it going to take for you to forgive yourself, to realize that forgiveness is going to help heal your dad? Your dad, of course, wants you to be happy and healthy.
He just disappeared. Poof. Maybe the electric energy.
There's Scott, electric energy about the discussion.
He's like, I'm out of here. I don't want to talk about this stuff. I'm sure it'll be back. I actually had this situation happen the other day. And he's back.
There he is.
I'm back. I popped on. I don't know. I saw it and I got right back on. I heard your question though, Scott. I don't know. I think I'm trying to remember what the sign was after my mother, because I beat, my mom was just tough. And I think I begrudged myself to hold that resentment in. I almost want to blame myself that they're not here. And I know I shouldn't do that. So it's hard for me to say. I guess I'm waiting for some type of release, for my dad, to sort of release me from that guilt, and whatever form that may come. I'm sure it will come, and maybe it has, and maybe I missed it, but I went and I had my first reading. I didn't believe in any of that stuff like psychics and mediums, but I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot because, I really don't want to, downgrade it if I've never. Right. And I'll tell you, the guy that I did it with blew me the fuck away. I'm going to tell you, he made me a believer that day. And the reason why is obviously we had never met before and we were going through this 40-minute reading or whatever. And he stops me about half an hour into it. And he says, well, hold on a minute. I forgot what we were talking about. Might have been my mother. And he goes, why is Wind Beneath My Wings, the song Wind Beneath My Wings, coming, to me? I said, well, that's the song that I associate with my mother. And I've always have. And the only person that knows that is my wife. So I'm sitting here in awe because that guy can't pick that song out of 5 billion songs and go, well, that's the one. And then a butterfly, which is my mother, I symbolize my mother with, landed on the lawn. And I'm like, okay, dude, like you made me a believer, man. There's no way you could guess that. There's just no way. He's got some kind of. So I knew my mother was there, and my dad is a bird of prey. Not necessarily anything in particular, but I associate when I have a bad day and I see a hawk or a turkey vulture, I know it's my dad checking in. So I think I'm slowly coming, knowing that he's stopping in at maybe when I'm having a rough day, and he's saying, hey, son, you know what? You're okay. Everything's good. And he'll take some time off, but he'll pop up when I need it. And I'm slowly realizing that that's his way of releasing me and saying it's okay. Because that's what I said to him when he just before he passed. When I did my one-on-one with him, and he went to mouth the words "I love you," and he couldn't talk because of the tube. And I said, "Dad, we're all good." And I wanted him to know. I said, "If you're waiting for that, if that's what you're holding on to," I said, "We are good. I love you. We're all good. I know what you're trying to say." So that I think. He's trying to let me know that it's time to let it go, and it's okay, that he's always going to be here in, whatever capacity, that he'll always be watching over me. And I think I'm slowly coming out of that funk to allow myself to forgive myself for anything that I think that I did or lack thereof.
Sounds like we got 3 humans here.
I think so.
A bunch of humans just trying to figure this shit out. That's a beautiful answer. And you know what's awesome is you're just expressing the fact that the present moment is everything, but at the same time, the journey's ongoing. I mean, we're not perfect. We're not going to forgive ourselves in every moment. We're not going to forgive others in the moment. The awareness that that's something that's going to be beneficial for us is step one. It sounds like you're there, so it's good. Chris, what do you think?
Trying to get there.
Yeah, we all are.
There's no try, dude. There's no try. I'm the no excuses coach, dude.
Very true.
There's no try. You either do it or you don't. Deborah says here, thank you for being here, Deborah. She says you got to live the people who go to the priest for advice. You got to love the people who go to the priest for the advice, and he knows nothing about what you're experiencing. I had the same experience. I was the same way as you, Jacque. I was like, I don't believe in any of this stuff, and I had a couple of readings, and I was blown away as well. And actually, the reason why I did it was because my boss, who was a big non-believer, he came back to me after his brother died, and somebody bought him a reading, and he was like, he made sure he didn't have his credit card, he didn't have his name, he didn't have anything, and he said that guy was able to tell me what my brother called me as a nickname. And he said he was floored. But then I was talking to Jacque about this yesterday, and we were talking about the difference between, mediums and clairvoyance and all these different things. So it was a pretty interesting conversation. You would dig him. He's been on this show before, right? He was just recently on the show.
Yeah, a couple shows.
Margaret says here, allowing those signs is amazing. Yes, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the organization that you tell us about the nonprofit organization and some of the people you serve. You talked about it briefly, but let us know also where people can get more information about that. We've already been talking for 53 minutes. It's amazing. But tell us about the organizations, because I know you're passionate about it and you're making an impact in the world, and that's what this show's all about. So tell us about that.
Well, first off, let me say that you said 53 minutes of talking, but see, that proves to all the guys out there that you can sit there and have deeper conversations with other men. Yes. And that's the thing. We need to get past that, because everything's got to be surface level with most men. It's got to be sports, or how cute the waitress's ass is, or I shot a 10-point buck. We don't ever get into that deep shit. Guys, don't be afraid to do that. We're doing it right here in front of you. There's 3 of us here doing that.
Yes. Excellent point.
I created it 4S for life, and what it stands for is the 4 S's stand for strength, struggle, sacrifice, and survival. And you can apply it to anything. Basically, you need to get through the first 3 to get to the underlying one, which there you go, 4S for life. So the 4 S's to, live your life. And 4S for life is obviously my life story. It's built on what I've been through and where I have come. I call it my rising from the ashes story. So we do have support groups. They're free. Like, we started in our communities where they're free to anybody and everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. You come in and just, ask for help. You can message us, set up a time. I do one-on-ones. We can do groups. We can do seminars. We just opened a health and wellness program within one of the schools here that we're doing to give kids different outlets on how to combat mental health and how to combat, dealing with, not so much depression, but sadness through this COVID, getting into martial arts classes and cooking classes and painting and just positive reinforcements on how to do those things, which has taken off immensely. And more schools are reaching out. So we definitely have to start with our kids. Okay. To all the parents out there that have those, we have to start with our kids. And I'm trying
recommendations do you have? What recommendations do you have for starting with kids?
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to
start. At what age?
Listen, it's never too early. I would say probably kindergarten age. I mean, you start, getting out as they start getting out into the world, they start doing their, not as far as positivity and reinforcement and hugging and kissing your children. You can do that anytime. If you instill that when they're younger and you start, I don't care if they're boys or girls, you go out to kiss them goodnight. My boys used to come, I used to kiss my dad goodnight every night. And you know what? It turned, and I think that helped with my dad was 6'5", 290 pound steel worker, professional bodybuilder. I mean, he was your man's man, but you know what? It didn't stop him from loving his sons. And I think that has transcended into where we are now, me and my boys. But yeah, the organization, so we have a domestic violence support group. We have the anti-bullying campaign, which is become a buddy, not a bully. We have the LGBTQ training that we just did. The conscious men's group, it's called #ManUp, not shut up, which is basically open your mouth, don't shy away from who you are. And this thing has gotten so many comments, dude. I've walked through like departments and I've had guys come on and they're like, dude, that's badass. So I know it's getting out there and people are noticing. So they get it. It's starting to catch on. So the other thing I want to start is a hashtag campaign called Take 15 a Day. And what that means is, it gets to Chris's point, take 15 minutes a day with your children. Okay. That's 105 minutes a week. And that means putting all your devices down, putting no phone calls, no work, no nothing. Okay. And it can be as simple as reading a book, taking a walk, having a discussion, whatever that 15 minutes has to do. Focus on your child or children for 15 minutes. And you will find out after the first couple times, it's going to turn into 20 minutes and a half. By then, you're not even going to know. You're going to be sitting there having so much fun with your kids. It's going to be an hour. It's going to be an hour. You're going to forget all about all the bullshit and the outside crap and the outside noise that because the example I give to people, and I think we've all done this, is picture a mother standing in the kitchen. We'll say texting. Okay, now little Bobby's standing off on the side. Mommy, hold on 1 second. I'll be with you. Just let me finish this. I'll be right with you. Okay, we've all done it. No. Now you finish your text, lay the phone down. You go off in the other direction. You forgot all about little Bobby. Well, little Bobby's sitting there wondering why mommy doesn't love him anymore and why she's not listening. That's the first way. You just dropped the ball. You had a point right there and you neglected that. So if we can get every parent out there to take 15 minutes a day with your kids, it will make a monstrous difference in the person that they will become.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Any final questions for Jacque, Mr. Scott, before we end it out?
What do you want to say to the world? What do you want to say to men right now? If there's one quick sentence you can say to men, what do men need to do more? What do we need to do? How do we be a better man?
You need to accept yourself as a complete human being. And if they said, well, hold on, what do you mean by that? That means that you have to understand that as a man, you have masculine and feminine energies.
Amen.
And most men don't even realize that. So if you can embrace yourself as an entire whole human being, your world will open up the possibilities you couldn't even fathom. And that goes back to your vulnerability and sharing with and it goes hand in hand. It's almost a positive snowball effect. Let me end it on this one. I'll say, we can change the world, and it's as simple as negativity and positivity take the same amount of time to teach. But why do we lack in positivity? Because it takes effort, and we are a lazy society. We don't want to put effort into it. Positivity comes from within. So you need to build it from within and exude that to others.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That is amazing. Where can people get a hold of you in other places?
I think you have some of the links up. So forestforlife.com is our website. You can email us at forestforlifefoundation@google.com. We're on the Facebook. You can directly listen. I will answer all messages. It may take me a little bit of time, but you can Jacque Ecuyer on Facebook. You can definitely get a hold of me if you have any issues. I don't need to know where you're from, what your name is. If you have a problem, you want support, you want to just talk, you want me to listen, let's do it. Let's make your change happen today. Let's reinforce who you are, get you to love yourself, and move forward with that.
Amen. Amen. Will you come back on the show again?
Listen, I love being out with you guys, man. And I want to thank all your guests, especially I love the women resonate, and that just reinforces. So when other men watches, they see that women are chiming in. This is what our women want. They want 100%. Us to be vulnerable. They want us to respect them enough to share with them what's going on in our world. So they said it. So thank you to all the women. I saw the name Margaret and Mary and whoever else was on there. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you to all the people that chimed in. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, brother. Keep shining your light, and definitely know what we can do to support you as well. So keep us posted on that. Let us know where we can get those shirts. I want to wear one of those shirts. So definitely.
Dude, listen, when we're off air, I'll mail a couple out to you, and we'll get you to start sporting them out there in Cali.
I'll wear it right here on the show.
I know.
I
that's
wear the
what I'm
same
saying.
shirt on the show for stylistic purposes, but I'll wear it.
Yeah. You and Scott got to give me addresses. I can get them out.
Man up, shut up.
Man up, not shut up.
I just wanted to say shut the fuck up, though.
Well, we can you can get those anywhere, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just a little bit more bold. All right, brother, we're gonna place you backstage. Thank you for being here on the Unfiltered Experience. We're gonna come back to you in just a sec. Don't go anywhere. Wow, Scott, first show of the year. What do you think?
Happy New Year, Chris. It was good.
Happy New Year.
I mean, it was perfect because, like we said, you're coming off holidays. We're trying to figure out what's this whole COVID thing. The airlines are in distress. It feels like there's always something that's, filling us with more stress. And just to realize that we are a complete human being. There's a part of masculine and feminine. Bottling stuff up, not processing, not being vulnerable is never going to get us to the place we need to be. So thanks, Jacque, for being here. That was super amazing. And I just want to echo that he's on point and be a whole human being for men and women, both masculine and feminine.
Yes, absolutely, brother. I couldn't agree more. We had a late arriver here. We had John Clark saying howdy. I think John had said, good chat, fellas. Thank you so much, John, for being here. Appreciate you. We're here every single week. By the way, guys, if you haven't been there, go to www.theunfilteredexperience.com. There it is right there on the screen, www.theunfilteredexperience.com. If you ever want to know what shows we have coming up, want to know a little bit more about us, join the Facebook group. Of course, go hit up that link. We'd love to have you there. But we're here every single Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you have a guest that you think would resonate with Scott and myself with a subject that we would be good for the audience here, please hit us up and let us know. We'll send you a calendar and we'll have you guys on the show. We just appreciate you guys being here every single week. Paul's in the house. What's up, Paul? Good to see you, brother. He says, great show. It's so funny. We got the family in the house. Susan says here, thank you for this show and sharing all of this information. Absolutely, Susan. And just please, guys, if you got value out of the show, share this out. Not only just share it out, but share it out with a few words. And hey, I just watched the show with Chris and Scott and Jacque. And here are the valuable insights that I got from this. A lot of people share this and we appreciate that, but just share a couple of words of what it is that you gained from this conversation. And more importantly, take this conversation and go have this with somebody else in your life. If you know there's a man in your life who could use some of this information, please, turn them on to the show. Please let them know that there's other guys out there that are setting the example for being masculine, yet being also vulnerable and having those conversations and seeking to understand. Because for me, Scott, the thing that I always try to think out of the conversation, what did we get tonight? And the thing I got tonight was, personal responsibility, right? We have to take ownership for where we are at in our life. We can't sit there and go, oh, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's the society's fault. I'm waiting for the government to do this. I'm waiting for this person to do it someday. You have to be sitting where you guys are at right now and say, listen, I'm willing to take responsibility. I'm willing to get dirty. I'm willing to go through some tough shit in order to solve some of this stuff and process some of this stuff so that I can become the better person that I want to be on the other side. Like Jacque said tonight, his past, I mean, when you think about that, he has done a tremendous amount of work on himself. He has a big enough why. He has a legacy. And now he's sitting there saying, okay, listen, I got a karmic balance to pay debt on. And he's going out there and taking all of the situations he's had in his life and making an improvement in the world. So each and every one of us can continue to do that. So we just appreciate you guys being here on the Unfiltered Experience. We're going to be back here again next week. We got Ed Barnes and Ed Barnes. I'm trying to see. Ed Burns, thank you so much for being here. Ed, a new person to the show. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys. And again, we will see you guys here next Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Unfiltered Experience. I'm Christopher Rausch, and that is
Scott Goyette. Man up or shut up. Go love now.
Man up or shut up.
Raw&Unscripted. All of it. Do it all.
Go out there and have a kick-ass weekend, guys. We love you and we appreciate it. We'll see you here